Ashok, this thing that Mr. Singh mentioned about the police, that the fact that until you have police reforms, these laws are not going to have any teeth.
Well, I do not entirely agree there, because we've seen that the Supreme Court has been nudging the state governments, the central government, to bring in reforms. Although they have come in very fits and starts, and it's not been incremental in the manner in which the Supreme Court would have wanted.
Right.
But at least I know of at least 2 instances where an attempt is being made to ensure that the police is free from executive control. So, for instance, let's talk about the appointment of DGPs.
Yes.
Now, the appointment of DGPs is done by the Union Public Service Commission, where the UPSC sends a panel of 3 names and sends it to the state government and says that these 3 people are who we consider are fit to be the DGP of the state, and you can select one of them, and the state government goes ahead and does it. So here, what has happened is that element of subjectivity has been removed, and UPSC, when it selects those 3 names, there is a higher degree of objectivity and merit which is introduced. Number one, although there is a huge problem, and Mr. Singh will agree with me, because I know he's appeared in the Supreme Court for many state governments, where the state governments do not follow this 2-year rule or the UPSC module, and they go on appointing acting DGPs. And even Uttar Pradesh is one of the states who for the last 2 terms has been appointing acting DGP to the state. The second is about the fixed terms or the fixed tenure for the district police officers, which is the superintendent of the police, which is the cutting edge, or that is the level at which policing is something which is required to be done most intensively. Now here again, there have been provisions, the Supreme Court has laid down that there should be a fixity of tenure, 2-year term. Do not remove them before 2 years. Most of the state governments are following it. Just because somebody is not following it doesn't mean that nothing is happening on the ground. Another thing with respect to these new laws, as to how they are also giving a little in their own way a nudge towards police reforms, is when we look at the Evidence Act.
Evidence Act, absolutely. The forensics, the introduction of forensics.
They have introduced the fact that forensics is mandatory during investigation, because Mr. Nanda and Mr. Singh will bear with me, because they have seen many cases than me, where they have seen that in criminal cases, the police investigation lacks in forensic investigation.
It's almost like an afterthought.
It's almost like an afterthought, even if it is there. Even if it is there. But in 90% of the cases, there is no element of forensic investigation. So these new laws, this new Evidence Act says that forensics is a must. Then we have introduced another new mandate which says that digital evidence will be admissible.
Audio recordings.
Audio recordings.
Nivriti,
and all those things. So in a way, what is happening is that we are definitely moving at a very slow pace. But we are moving ahead.
We are moving in a slow pace, we're moving ahead. And talking about movement, it's Dr. Sachdev, Dr. Nanda, my mistake. Dr. Nanda, this hit and run punishment that's extended up to 10 years. Isn't it a bit too much for not reporting accident cases to the police? And in fact, there were a lot of street protests about this as well.
Even the drivers, I like the transporters and all.
Yes, they're all.
Earlier under 304A, it was a bailable offence. Even in the Thanedar could give you a bail, but now it is 10 years and all that. I personally, I feel this is rather harsh. And I don't think this will, once brought in, because the minister has assured them that the notifying this provision will not be there till the time we have a discussion with you. But I don't think so that he or anybody will be having the guts to stop this. As and when it is brought in, of course, I feel that it will be challenged in the court, and I don't think it will stand the scrutiny of court. It is too harsh. Too harsh.
So it's too harsh, Nivriti, this fact that Dr.
Change
Nanda
is
mentioned,
required,
yes.
but
Yeah.
not to the extent that you go the other way around.
Draconian, 10 years.
Yeah,
And in fact, medical negligence also is, the punishment has been reduced to 2 years in imprisonment. Other cases, it's 5
Well, it depends
years.
on interest groups as to how much they can pressurize the government to go back on the laws that have been
the
there.
medical lobby was successful in their attempt, and that is how they've been able to bring in it will be with lesser rigor.
Right.
But nevertheless, see, all these things, I mean, could have been brought through the amendments also. There's nothing stopped them.
Yes.
All this sounds like North Indian laws. Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita, Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha, Bharatiya. How do we, when we talk of the unity and integrity of India,
yes,
should laws not smell, sound, appear like the same as if wherever we are reading it, whether we are reading it in Srinagar or standing in Kanyakumari, we should be like Indian Penal Code. Maybe it was brought in by Britishers, but all that could have been, the names should have been in such a way that India should feel united with these laws, not that they look as if the South Indians will think that as if this has been brought in by North India. North and South divide is, I mean, I feel, I smell it that way.
Right. Do you think that's going to be a problem, Nivriti, in the years ahead? You're a lawyer yourself. How do you see this in the courtroom?
Many experts and many people have been raising that these are
the language.
It is in Hindi, and most of the people in South India or on the eastern parts of India, they won't be able to understand what exactly Bharatiya Nagarik Suraksha Sanhita is or Bharatiya Nyaya Sanhita is.
Right.
So yes, this and Advocate Vikas Singh was even saying that it won't be constitutionally right. to put it in Hindi.
Yes.
So it should be in a language that is understandable.
A universal language of communication. In fact, that's the. I'm afraid we're totally out of time here, but the new laws for a new Bharat, many slip between the cup and the lip before they can finally be notified. Thank you very much, Dr. Nanda, Ashok, and Nivriti.
News9 Plus. Download now.